Are you busy or are you preoccupied? A question that may seem like they mean the same thing. Just like are you done or are you finished? Because you see, you can be done but not finished. Because once you're done, you're done. And when you're finished, well, you get the point. A lot of people like to throw the word around busy. And the more that I think about it, I just think that people don't understand what it really means to be busy. If you're not handling business, then you should say that you're preoccupied because when you're preoccupied, something or someone has your attention for unlimited amount of time, which can be whether you're eating, cooking, watching TV, or doing self-care. That's being preoccupied. But when you're busy, you're working, you don't have time for luxuries. You're usually doing something that you really don't want to do, but you have to do it because all the priorities can fall back. And I wanted to kind of make this video because I just feel like the word busy, I don't know. Preoccupied, I think, is a better word to use if you're not handling business. Now, I've been a director for at least 5 years now, dealt with many creative people, and I've always get that, oh, I was busy, I was doing this, I was doing that. And I'm not one to stalk people, but if we're following each other on social media and I see that you're doing liking videos, you're dancing, you're posting memes, you're doing all these things, then you can't say that you're busy. You're preoccupied with something, you know? And with it being so important to get in contact with people, especially actors and other creatives, you just can't ghost somebody. You just can't just disappear for weeks or months without communication. That's how you lose connections. That's how you ruin relationships when you fail to communicate. And a lot of these people are bad at communicating. In Hollywood, they're not going to contact you 3 or 4 times to follow back up. It's only one chance. Even then, you might not even get that other follow up. But people take these opportunities for granted. There's a lot of actors out there that probably been acting for maybe 15, 20 years and still hasn't made it. And with you being so young, thinking that you have time on your side, there is no guarantee that you'll get in. So you have to take every relationship that you have as serious as possible. You can't fuck around. You can't. I thought that, being a director, you would want to be as close to your actors, or your actors want to be as close to the directors and the producers, but it just seems like they're just looking at it as a business transaction, which is fine. I understand that you hop on one project, things don't go as planned. You're like, you know what, okay, thank you for this experience. I'm going to keep it moving. But I just think of it as when you are a filmmaker, when you're just getting into films, nothing ever goes as planned. Especially when you're small budget or even when you're high budget and you have the big bucks. Even then, things fail. You may run into an issue where you get a car error, so you can't record, or things overheat, or this that, and the third. So there's always something on set that will throw the creatives back, even the actors, people showing up late, people not showing up, so you got to find someone to scribble and scrabble. So filmmaking is never a straight road. You're never going to run into an instance where everything goes well on set. If that happens, then that's a fucking blessing. So I just hope that the many projects that I've been on and the many actors that I've worked with, they understand that this isn't an easy thing. A lot of people say that you can just pick up the camera and go. That is not the case. If you want to make a good project, you have to put time and effort in. You have to find people that are dedicated because a lot of people just want to do this part time. We call them part time actors or part time filmmakers, or I do this when I feel like it, or I do it when I have the free time. And sometimes some of these actors or even filmmakers, they're doing too many things. You have too many curricular activities that are sucking you away from fully committing. And I get it. You wanna do dance class, you wanna draw, you wanna do music, you wanna do all these things, but you have to stay focused on one thing. You can't be the jack of all trades and master of none. You have to stick to one particular thing that you want to do. And acting, being a filmmaker, is selfish. I had a teacher one time in college, and he told me in my music theory class, he said, music is selfish. You have to dedicate your time to it. All the other things that you're doing, that's going to have to go. Your girlfriends are going to have to go bye bye. Your boyfriends are going to have to skedaddle because you have to put an effort to know music theory, to read it, to know it, to sing, to play all these instruments. Time and effort that you just can't be lollygagging around. And that's the same thing with acting. There are so many things people can do to be better at acting, but they don't take the time out to actually take those steps and do what they have to do. Whether it's acting classes, or just being on set, or just watching, tutorials on YouTube, or listening to people that have come before you and they give you tips and tricks on how to become proficient at acting. Because a lot of these things are trial and error. And if you don't try, how do you expect to get better? And so, my hope is that all these actors that have flaked, all these people that have lost communication with me, I really hope you make it. I really hope that you put in the time and effort to do what you have to do. Because as of right now, today, it just seems like your dedication and your focus is elsewhere. And I'm not saying that you won't make it, but I'm just saying that it is less likely based on your temperament, based on your communication skills and your professionalism. It just doesn't seem like many people would want to deal with you in that aspect of it. If you can't separate personal with business, or you want to have too much me time, people look at that. I get it that sometimes some of these things are unpaid, so your motivation is a little gone, but you're going to have to work for free. No one is going to put you onto the bigger projects if they can't trust you, if they don't know what are you going to do, especially when things come under pressure. How are you going to handle it? What are you going to do in tough situations? You have to try. You got to do a lot of free gigs. You're going to have to do a lot of things that you really might not want to do. You possibly is going to have to give up that personal time with your significant other for a very long time for them to understand that, nah, baby, I can't do it this weekend. I can't do this. I can't do that because I got to make it. A lot of you are resting a little too easy. Just because you did one project, you think that you're on the road to success. No. You're going to have to keep up at it. If you're not busting your ass, starving, having a lack of sleep to reach your dreams, it isn't going to happen. Unless you have connections, unless you know somebody that's going to put you into the door, you can't relax. And even then, when you make it, you still got to hustle and bust your ass. This is never a one and done type of thing. A lot of things in life isn't one and done. You're just going to have to keep hustling. You're going to have to keep rushing to get to where you need to go. And so I ask the question again. Are you busy? Or are you preoccupied? Because even if you really were busy and I asked you, hey, can you do this, or can you come on project, or can you, show up for this, or do you want to audition for this, and you're busy, you would say, I'm sorry, I was dealing with X, Y, and Z in a timely manner. But because you're preoccupied, you look at the message, you say, oh, I'm going to hit this person back up later. Then later it comes, and you don't do it. So, my philosophy is because I know how things work and how things are, and I know that in Hollywood you're not going to get a triple text or a quadruple text. I'm not doing that. You get one shot with me because that's how it is. You have one opportunity to do what you have to do, because first impressions are everything. Even before you even walk into a door and you do live auditions, they're looking at you and they already have some precognition of who you are, an opinion or an assumption. So before you even talk, they might even say, I don't think this person is the right fit for me. Especially now when we're doing virtual auditions because of COVID-19, you have a better chance to submit to many different things all at once. It's hard to just go from place to place to have a audition that has to be done by 2 o'clock. Let's say in Brooklyn, and then you got to go all the way down to fucking Yonkers or Buffalo, New York for like another one. You know what I'm saying? But when you do virtual auditions, you could submit your video here, there, all at the same time, probably simultaneously, and people are taking that for granted. They're taking these opportunities for them to, flourish for granted. Getting in contact with directors, you should keep a tight relationship with everyone that you work with on a professional level. But you think you got time, and you really don't. Life is uncertain. You can die tomorrow. So every day, you gotta hustle and bustle like it's your last. But hey, if you're happy with your life and what you're doing, who am I to tell you, right? Who am I to tell you what you're doing? You got this, right? Okay, that's cool. Well, I really hope that in a lot of things, that whatever you do in life, you manage to do it to the best of your ability. I wish you all success. I wish you all happiness, and maybe I'll see you on the other side. Oh, and one more thing before I forget, you know, um, just a bit of context. The reason why I felt as if I needed to spread this message is because there's a lot of people that I felt that has been using me in terms of my talents. And you might say that's kind of good, but it's bad because the type of using that they're doing is for selfish reasons. They may use a project that they're on or a photo shoot or whatever, and they don't want to give credit or they don't want to acknowledge that this is who helped them get to where they needed to be. I'm not saying this in a boastful way, but I've put a lot of people on within the last 5 years that I've been doing this. 6 years now because it's 2021. But some models have never modeled a day in their life. They do a photo shoot with me, and now they have a following and they have fans. But then they want to act like they don't know me when I see them in public. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. A few actors act in a few projects. I had one actor delete me off of social media after working on a project and I haven't spoken to them in weeks or months after. I thought that we were in good standing, but apparently maybe something happened. I posted something or whatever, and this person just disappeared on the face of Earth. I've had cast members that just stop communicating and stop doing things. And so, I'm saying all this because I know that this is just the beginning, and I'm not really too worried on my success. But the reason why this kind of hurts me a little bit is because I'm trying my best to do everything that I can do to show people kindness and professionalism top notch. But I realize that no matter what you do, there's just some people that just will always be selfish and nasty. And I don't really take it too much to heart, but it is kind of sad because I had high hopes for these people. They're great, they're talented, but it's just that I guess their core self of like where they are right now in their life, they're just so hungry to make it that it's just like fuck everyone else. I'm gonna use this person as a platform to get from here to there. And they don't really remember who gave them that start. They don't really remember who gave them that chance. And that's alright. You know? I take mental notes. I don't say anything. I don't call no one out. I don't curse at nobody because there's no time for that. Especially because I'm grown. There's really no reason for me to have arguments with people anymore. It's just, okay, thank you. Next. Because that's how it is. And that's how it will be for the remainder of my life, possibly. You know, I don't have the time to be in a Twitter battle or a text war with somebody, models, want to cause issues. I say, oh, okay, thank you for supporting me this far, but I think that this is where we're going to have to part ways. That's it. You don't got to go back and forth with nobody at this point because there's no time. There is so much work to be done in the day for me that for me to take the time out to respond to you takes energy and it takes time, and I just don't have that luxury. There's too much at stake. I gotta edit videos, I gotta do photo shoots, I gotta edit those, you know, projects of photos and videos and write scripts and make me, you know what I'm saying? I'm too creative on too many fronts, and even sometimes I don't even like people calling me. Texting is fine, but calling is like now I have to stop what I'm doing to speak to you and talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm always like, text me first. Call if it is an emergency. There's certain people that when they call me, I don't answer because I'm like, this is gonna be bullshit, and you're going to be wasting my time. You know, texting just takes a few seconds. Da, 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 boom, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm focused. I can multitask, but the call where I might need to be listening to audio in terms of a project or I have to hear dialogue and you're talking to me and I'm trying to be, respectful and talk to you, but also I'm trying to work at the same time. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever, doing like whatever I got to do. So, everyone that I come in contact with, I have a level of respect for you. But when you do bullshit like that, where you try to either A, use me, or I'm trying to get in contact with you for either reshoots or whatever reason it is, I'm trying to get in contact with you and you ignore me and you don't communicate, that's when you get on my bad side. That's when I look at you like, okay, you're blacklisted. I cannot, I want nothing to do with you anymore. Because I don't have time. I'm not begging nobody to be my friend. I'm not begging no one to be in my projects. I don't necessarily need you, but I want you there. So if I pick you for a project, it's because I see greatness in you and I want you to be a part. So you should be rejoicing that I picked you to be a part of this project because I'm telling you right now, majority of the Hollywood gigs that you're gonna get as a minority or person of color, because that's most likely where I use minorities and people of color to tell stories, but you're gonna be getting background roles, you're gonna be getting day players, you're not gonna be getting powerful leads, and even if you do get a role where you get a speaking role, they're gonna have you support somebody or do something real stupid or something to undermine you as a person. But the projects, and you probably ask anyone, all or the majority of the stories that I write are strong pieces, values. There's a message in it. And you don't see that most in Hollywood these days. Most projects are just rehashed of something, baby mama dramas, uh, gangster films, love stories, all this stuff. But I'm putting in quality work, and I want you to be a part of it. But you were taking that for granted. Just like I said in the previous part, there's been people that have been doing this for a long time, and they're still at where they are. And you get a chance to play a character with depth, with level, with emotion, and you think that you're on a high road. There's no guarantee. I had an instance where 3 years ago, because now it's 2021, but 3 years ago, I did a short film called Rain, and nobody from the cast showed up to watch the movie in a film festival. That's a once in a lifetime chance. Most movies don't get put into film festivals. You don't get a chance to walk the red carpet and have fans, but they took it for granted. Am I still talking to them? No, but it's just the fact that at that time, I felt so embarrassed because it was like I'm the only one who came to support their film, and you're in this project. This is a great opportunity for you, and you dropped the ball. Not me. You dropped the ball. And so, in closing, I really do wish everyone that I've worked with the best of luck. And this isn't to be condescending, this isn't to be sarcastic. No, this is genuine respect. Because being a creative is not easy, it's actually difficult. So, I really hope that all of you make it. But at the same time, I really hope that you change and you become more professional. You know, hopefully, my interaction with you, as short as it was, gave you a taste of what it really is to be an actor or to be a filmmaker or whatever it is. Because it's going to get harder from here, you know? So if my project derailed you in terms of making you realize that shit, maybe this isn't really what I want to do, then good. I'm happy about that. Because there's a lot of things that I let slide because it's not that personal. But I've been on sets. I've worked with people that are 10 times worse than me, where they're yelling at you. Everyone can attest to this. I don't shout, I don't yell at anyone because we're all adults. And even then, there is no reason. There's ways to communicate frustration than cursing or yelling at somebody. So if it ever gets to the point where I have to shout or yell at somebody, then you need to get off the set because not only am I going to be upset, I'm probably going to be throwing something at you or I'm going to be trying to hurt you. And I don't think it ever needs to get to that point. But if it does get to that point, then that person, we can never work again because if you get me to that point of, anger and rage, you are beyond toxic. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, um, the point that I'm trying to make is that all of the things that I listed that are things that I don't like is going to be enforced even heavily on film sets on the West Coast or even in New York when it's real professional gigs that are union jobs. You know, even then, even with the union and the non-union, they treat non-union workers like shit. You probably don't even get fed. You probably don't even get a good dressing room, but they have to because union, they have rules and they have to pay them and they have to do all these things, so they have to glamour and pamper them up. So if you're upset with me that, oh, just for one day I forgot to, feed you, or we're on a film set for like 13 hours and I told you we're going to be on here for 8, grow the fuck up, because it's going to get even worse than that. You might be on set for 17, 18 hours. You might be on set for 3 hours just sitting there not doing anything, but you're complaining that, oh, I'm not being used. There's so much shit that has to be done, that directors have to do to make sure that everything is running well. And all you're doing is just sitting there. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to worry about any equipment. You just need to show up, do your lines, and go the fuck home. So you feel so entitled that just because you're an actor, oh, this project can't go without me. Yeah, you're right. But best believe they're going to find someone else to do the same job that you were supposed to do. And again, it goes hand in hand with what I said previously, is that some of these projects are gold. You have to go searching to find wholesome content like what I'm trying to put out. But you take it for granted. You don't communicate. You want to get back to me when you feel like it. Okay. All right. Maybe, I don't want to say that it's because I'm black. Fuck that shit. But if that's the case, that you think, oh, just because he's black, he has dreadlocks, he might not know what the fuck he's talking about. Okay. And then, because I'm independent and I don't have the staff that I need, I'm doing multiple jobs. Directing, cinematography, probably doing sound, probably doing production because I'm producing it. You know what I'm saying? Catering. So there's so many things that I'm running around and I'm doing different things that it may seem like I'm all over the place, but it's because I'm trying to keep this shit moving. I'm trying to keep the project going. You don't never see me panic on set. You don't never see me get upset because there's so much at stake that I don't have time to be upset for people and stuff like that. But all right, well, I don't want to go on a tangent, and this video is probably longer than it really needed to be, but the fact remains that I'm just trying to point out that there's a lot at stake. Filmmaking just isn't as easy as people make it up to be. You're always troubleshooting something, you're problem solving many things all at once, and there there's a lot that goes into keeping a project together. So I just hope that people understand, whether it's union or non-union, it's not a cakewalk. The way that you see all your movies and all your things, that's most likely not how it is on set. You know what I'm saying? There's so much things that go into making a project that you should really be honoring your directors because they're in charge of a lot of things. And when things don't go right, everyone's looking at you. They're not looking at the person that fucked up, that dropped the light, or they're not looking at the person that didn't show up for sound. They're looking at you because what are you gonna do to solve that problem? So, like I said, I thought that people would be professional and respect that, but it seems like there's a lot of growing up that needs to happen with a lot of people, and especially because everyone are young or this is like their first project, so they really don't know what it is. But again, if my projects derailed you and made you have to overthink whether or not you want to be a filmmaker or you want to be a part of, acting, because if there's some instinct that you realize that has to be done and you're responsible for that, then that's good. Because at least this is a training and this is a start where you can really see what filmmaking is all about. Because people gloss over a lot of things. There's a lot of stories, there's a lot of instances where people just don't tell you the truth of what it really is. But hopefully, this is the time where you can really realize that this may not be what I want to do. Or maybe this is now I need to do a different approach, to how I want to approach being a filmmaker. But nevertheless, if what I've said impacted you, or you felt like you've learned something, or you need to think about something, then, leave a comment down below, or like whatever, share it with whoever needs to see this video. But, the fact remains is that I know personally for me, um, I was already careful in terms of picking people to be a part of projects, but now I want to be very extra careful and kind of not expect a lot. Maybe it was my fault in thinking that I could have had the Brat Pack, which is essentially, directors having a set of actors that they always use. And I thought that those people would have been the go-to people that I can just call up, say, hey, you want to audition for this? And say, yeah. But it just seems like not everyone is willing to uh, keep relationships strong. There's so much stuff in their life that takes over. And I get that. And I'm not blaming you for that. I'm not calling you out for that. I'm not going to say that you're unprofessional for that. But what I am going to say is that you have to make a choice. I'm not saying you can't do your dance class, you can't do music, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't hang out with your boyfriend or girlfriend. But you're going to have to decide which one is more important. Them for the day, or this film project that will propel your career. Because opportunities come once in a lifetime. And you will be really sorry that you fucked up and you dropped the ball on trying to do a project because your girlfriend or your boyfriend wanted you to go to the mall. You can do that shit later, anytime that you want. But these opportunities that you get for casting or gigs or whatever it is come once in a lifetime. And you have to be on your best behavior. You gotta be on time. Oh, you show up late, that's it. You're probably gonna be replaced when you get there. Or you're gonna get an earful. And they don't wanna hear that I'm sorry. They're gonna say, get it done. The simple fact that for me to be on certain projects or certain things that I have to catch the bus and train, I have to get there, I have to wake up an hour or 2 hours early normally than you, and you have a car, is unacceptable. They're not gonna care that you got things to do or someone got sick or whatever. They're gonna say, okay, and so it's a lot to think about. There is a lot of things to think about being a filmmaker or being an actor. So hopefully you learned something new. And for real this time, see you in the next one.